Okay, guys, welcome back. We're still in 1 Samuel 20, and we're still talking about the conversation that Jonathan and David are having um, about David going and remaining hidden for 3 days, and then going quickly to come to the place where you hid on the day of the deed. And basically, the shooting of the arrows is either going to tell him he can come on back because there's safety, or he needs to go, okay, because the Lord is sending him away. And so we know what happened here. David had to go. But what is interesting here is that it speaks of the new moon, which is what the Lord has been telling us, okay? And it goes into detail as to on day one of the new moon, and the second day, David's place was still empty, and it's talking about all of that. And so there's stuff in this particular scripture here that is really, really interesting and seems to be tying in to what we have going on. So, of course, Saul was very angry that David was not at the table during this time because he wanted to kill David, okay? And Jonathan was like, well, why do you want to kill him? And then, of course, Saul got very, very angry. Um, but what he said here was, and Saul's anger was aroused against Jonathan, and he said, you son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that you have chosen the son of Jesse, who is David, to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long, okay, guys, read this now, okay? For as long as the son of Jesse lives on the earth, okay, you shall not be established, nor your kingdom. Okay, so now the son of Jesse, David, is the youngest son of Jesse. Okay, David is um, David is the bloodline of Yeshua. Okay, this is Jesus's bloodline. All right. And so when we see this, then we understand, for as long as the son of Jesse, meaning the bloodline of Yeshua, lives on the earth, you shall not be established, nor your kingdom. Well, whose kingdom is being held back because the bloodline of Jesus is on the earth? Very interesting information in this scripture. And then in 21 and in 1 Samuel 21, it talks about David with his mother and his father going to a different area to for safety under a king. Guys, so much symbolism in here. I have not even had a chance to even delve into this because of what the Lord has shown me, but I needed to at least let you see that this is still lining up with what he is pointing to us. He's been talking to us about the new moon. He's been putting this in front of me. I've mentioned this. I've brought this to your attention. He has been talking about the spirit quickening, which is linked to transfiguration, translation, transrelocation, resurrection. And so there's a lot of different things that has been being given to me, little pieces and bits and nuggets, guys, that I think are just getting ready to start connecting all together. All right, so let's just continue on. Let's talk about this new moon because, guys, that's the warning. That's what the Lord said the warning was, and so we know the new moon is the warning. And so I pulled something else up, because not only is the 3 days in hiding the sign of Jonah, but we have also heard that there was an eclipse, some type of an eclipse around the time that Jonah was getting ready to go into Nineveh, and so I pulled up some information regarding the great eclipse that we had last year, and the sign of Jonah. And I was looking through some of these articles, and then I said, well, let's find out what the new moon equates to the eclipse. And so I put new moon for solar eclipse, and this is what comes up here. It says, in a new moon, the moon is between the earth and the sun, and they are nearly totally different, meaning every moon is different. New moon is a solar eclipse season, and not every new moon gives a solar eclipse, but every solar eclipse happens at a new moon, without exception. Okay, so now I'm like, well, wait a minute, guys. Okay, now wait a minute, because this is what the Lord said. He said the new moon is a warning. And so I thought, well, are we scheduled for an eclipse? Even if it's not a total eclipse, are we scheduled for a partial eclipse? So let's just take a look at something. So I pulled up this particular site, just skyandtelescope.com, because it talks about the solar and lunar eclipses in 2018, and it goes ahead and identifies them out. And so I scrolled down here, and it said that there are going to be 5 eclipses in 2018. One January 31st, February 15th, July 13th, July 27th, and August the 11th. Okay, that's it. There's nothing here about October. Not one thing here about October. And so I'm like, well, I wonder what that's all about then, because the Lord is telling me that's going on. So then I started wondering, well, wait a minute. The scripture said that the only sign that they would receive was the sign of Jonah, and we know that they were talking about Jesus, the Son of Man, going to be dead for 3 days and then resurrect. Was there an eclipse around then? Now, we know that it got dark, right? We know that scripture says that it got dark. So I pulled up, was there an eclipse when Jesus died, right? What is this eclipse? And it says that the crucifixion darkness is an episode in 3 of the canon gospels in which the sky becomes dark in the daytime during the crucifixion of Jesus. Okay, so we knew that it did, and it gives us the time. It gives us in scripture, it gives us the times that it was dark, like from noon until 3, which was like the 9th hour, or the 6th hour to the 9th hour, or something like that. Let's take a look at that right quick. Okay, so we have the 3 Gospels that talk about it, and so Matthew says, and from the 6th hour there was darkness all over the land until the 9th. Mark says the same, 6 to the 9th, and 6 to the 9th. So, look what this one says though. It says darkness over the whole land while the sun's light failed, which I thought was interesting. So I had to pull up something else. I pulled up this. Did a solar eclipse darken the skies during Jesus' crucifixion? And so it says that, just like what we read here, Luke, that the sun's light failed. And the New American Bible translated because of an eclipse of the sun. But that's not what the King James says. So when I continued reading on down and it was talking about, they started questioning, was it then a lunar eclipse? Did something else happen? And it says here, because the phase of the moon during Passover, if there was an eclipse during crucifixion, it would have been a lunar eclipse, according to this person. Scholars have zeroed in on April the 3rd, 33 AD, as the date of Jesus' death, according to this particular scientist. And that presents a problem with the lunar eclipse theory, while there was a total lunar eclipse that night, it was not visible from Jerusalem, where the Gospels record um, Jesus was crucified outside the city walls. Um, so something did happen around that time. There was some type of an eclipse, which I thought was interesting. So let's take a look at the eclipse that happened during the time of Nineveh. So Jonah goes into Nineveh, and the Lord prepared the people. He warned them already, and He did because something happened to prepare Nineveh, a solar eclipse. Now take a look at this. The pathway of totality, which is one of the most, and this is the name, which is one of the most famous solar eclipses in ancient history, occurred just north of Nineveh during the reign of this person in Assyria. So guys, it did occur. A solar eclipse occurred, which I thought was interesting because we just had a solar eclipse last year occur as well. But that's not what the Lord is saying. The Lord is saying the new moon is a warning. The new moon is a warning, and I have to come back to let me fix this. I have to come back to this, where it says, not every new moon gives a solar eclipse, but every solar eclipse happens at a new moon without exception. So guys, I'm telling you, there's something to this. Now, I've just shown you and proven to you that they don't have it identified that an eclipse is going to happen with this new moon. The Lord is telling us, He's pointing us to it. He's telling us something is going to happen around that time of the new moon. He said the new moon is a warning. So guys, oh, there's more. I can't even. There's so much more. So let me see. Let me just go ahead and pull something up for you. These are some of my notes that I had earlier today. I found a 3D video of what Nineveh might look like in ancient times. Okay, let me find that video for you. This is going to be real interesting. I'd love for you to watch this. Hang on one second. So I pulled up the Ancient History Encyclopedia on the city of Nineveh. And, I went through and I was reading through some of this. And you know where it is today? It's modern day Iraq, okay? Mosul, Mosul, Iraq, which I thought was really interesting. And it is in the Mesopotamia area, okay? Which has come up before my eyes just recently. So guys, I'm telling you, it's more and more and more that the Lord is showing me. This is a 3D digital art of what they think ancient Nineveh looked like, and I would like to go ahead and show this to you, but I'm running out of time on this particular video. I'll have to come back to the next one and show it. It's very short. It's less than 2 minutes. But I would like you to see what they kind of put together because it was cool to look at. And I'll tell you the reason why I started getting some thoughts about some things. So we'll come back into the next video. Thanks for